Hi, my friends, it's Pat Sloan here. So we have a bunch of things today. It is our week 2 for the Christmas Mystery Evergreen with the Fat Quarter Shop. But first I want to show you a little spin around the studio and we'll take a look at something I was doing here. So let's find the crab. I know it's right here. And we're going to go in and get the binding and the hanging sleeve, which I have already done. So they are in this bowl. Why are they in this bowl? Because Quilt was out here for a while, and well, that's just what happens, isn't it? You kind of put things where they are together. I mean, I don't even have that big a space, and I can lose binding. How does that happen? Whoops. Okay, so I need to trim this, get it ready for the hanging sleeve. I don't think that is ready, and the binding's done. There are lots of ways to hold your batting. Ways people put it on little cone things or down on the floor. They might put it like a container. Often I find that it just works to roll it up like this and set it right next to me as I'm working. That it just seems to work really well. So if you haven't tried that, give it a go. Oh, my friends, sometimes I think I am terribly organized, and I'm not. I thought I had ordered this Portsmouth to do an Oh My Stars, and I couldn't find it. So I added it to my order and got some more charm packs and another, probably that piece of pink again, I don't know. But then I was just going to go put the Christmas quilting in a bin, make a bin. Thing's too tall, gotta fix that. But anyways, I saw this bin here that said red, white, and blue, and I'm like, why do I have a red, white, and blue bin? I have red, white, and blue somewhere else. Let me open it up, and I'm like, crap. Okay, so I have another set of these coming, which is fine. It's gorgeous. I'm not sure what I'll do. And then I forgot that I had actually bought the blue of the houses. Like I showed you the white with those. And then I have this other stuff in here, and I'm not sure, like, what was I doing with this? It's like, oh, I think it's I remember now. This is a Jolly Bar, Isabel Jolly Bar, with this really cute pattern. Oh my gosh, folks. So much fun. Too much fun. I'm having too much fun. So this is the one I bought, extra, that I was auditioning for the border of the baskets. Oh, goodness. I just need to sew more. There we go. That's it. Just need to sew more. So after looking through all of those things, I decided that I needed to get another project where blocks are cut up. And so I've gone back to the fruitcake project. So that name cracks me up. I think this one was done originally with Christmas fabric, so they called it a fruitcake. So it cracks me up. But you know, I had all these cut and was working through them, and now they're done, these baskets, so I need another one. And this one is a lot easier. Here is the one block I've done with the Lazy Summer fabric, Lazy Afternoon fabric line. So I'm going to show you what I got going on. I don't know if you remember, I tried a bunch of different backgrounds. Let me refresh your memory. I did it on white, and I used the biggest print. There's a lot of more smaller scale prints, but I did all the mock-ups with the biggest one just to see what it would look like. I did it on black, which really popped. But you know, I'm looking for something sort of lighthearted with this, and black was just so intense, although it really does look gorgeous. I even tried my teal, which also looks really good, but ended up, I went back to what I wanted to use, a really light background, and I wanted a soft pink. So I ended up with this pink. It's called Ballerina Pink, and I have a link in the description box to this by my friend Melissa Mortison. So I'm so delighted. It really looks good, and it gives me what I'm looking for, sort of a light feel. Now the pattern has a 5, 1, 2, 3, yeah. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is with me? I'm not being able to count. Anyways, it's 5 by 7. 5 across, 7 down. And I'm going to make it 4 across, 6 down. And then I think I'm going to add a little sashing between each block. And then the border will be the pears or persimmons. They're probably persimmons, although they're shaped more like pears to me. But this is what the use for the border. So that means I'm working with a fat eighth, because this is a fat eighth friendly, which is half of a fat quarter. So each of the pieces are a little bit smaller than a fat quarter. So they're half of a fat quarter. So here, so they're kind of longer and skinnier. And I will do each one with a different one of these and the same center of the orange and the same ballerina pink background. So I wanted to pick all the fabrics because what I want to do is do a lot of cutting over the next day or so. So I can kind of have these cut because they are a really easy block, easy construction. You've got I think that's a small rectangle. No, it's a square. It's a square and a rectangle, square and rectangle. And basically this unit is rotated. So it's the same unit rotated. And so that's very easy. It's not complex, like the baskets were a lot more work to keep track of. These will be really, really simple. I had already, when I stopped before from making these samples up, ended up with my strip for the center of it here, this part. And then I had cut the big squares, the center square, and then the sew and flips. Or no, this might be the center, whatever it is. And these are the sew and flips. So I have some already done, not nearly enough. But then I needed to look at the fabrics and decide which colors of these, which do I want to use. Because there's yellows, this kind of cinnamon, the more like the orangey, soft orange, the light blue, and then the fabric line also has some white. There's a whole group of white, which are fabulous, and then a couple of pink. Well, because I'm using pink, I decided, well, I'm not going to use the pink ones, except this. I am going to use that one because it has enough contrast. And then that means that there's more of these in the line that I didn't need, because I need 20 total, and I have one in the ballerina pink, just one. So it means I needed 19 more fabrics. And I decided that I would do as many blue as there were blue, and then here's the kind of orange, which I pulled in one white with the orange, a lot of orange on it, and then this sort of caramel, cinnamon color, and then the gold. So these will go into my lights, because they're all great lights, so that I could have them for fun things. There's yarn and knitting needles. Look at the black and white. Isn't that fantastic? Several black and white, which I have a group of black and white fabrics, so I'll put those there. So what that means is that I now can go ahead and cut these. This is just here, I already made the block just so I could count them. Go ahead and cut these rectangles and squares from each of these and have them ready to go. It'll be so easy. None of this will get confusing because I can just lay them out in little groups. I'm just making this corner unit from each fabric. So that is exciting. So I kind of get stalled every so often when I get to this point. If I want to have something that's sort of ready to go, or I need to cut a bunch of it at once, because this isn't my go-to mode. I tend to cut a few and sew. But these tend to work a lot better to have them set up. So I sit down, I can pick up a group of them and use them as my start and stops, or just sew a few chunks late at night when it's, I'm kind of mindless sewing. I want something mindless sewing. This is definitely mindless sewing. And they're so fast. The block is really fast to do. So that will be, and no thinking. I don't really have to think about these. There's no directional stuff I have to think about. Don't have to plan out placement or anything like that. And I don't have to even put them up on the design wall. I can do that after they're done and see where they will be. All right, so that is now ready to go. Let's go back to the other side. So these things just happen when you're working in your space, right? Let's go over now and look at the next row of evergreen. So week number 2 is called the Popcorn and Cranberry Garland. Now I have a black and white copy, so it's not as easy to see as your color copy will be, but you can just see at the bottom here. This is the diagram. So you have these 2 pinwheels at the bottom and then another one at the top, and then, to make a garland. So it's kind of making a garland for here. So what fabrics? First of all, we are now into the accent for the tree. So the bottom part that's darker is the tree accent color that you got extra of. So let's take a look at what I have going on. Here is the first row of mine again. So I used the reds, the bows were in for the packages, red and white, and the bows are navy. And that's a very dark navy, and then I've got green as the main tree color. So these are 2 accents I got. I've decided not to use the directional one. Maybe this will be the binding, might be the binding, or go into my fabric collection. So we'll put it over there. So this will be the accent. So we'll have the darker at the bottom, and then the lighter at the top for this week's row. Now I have to pick the pinwheel fabric. So I could use, here are all the pieces left from the layer cake squares. These are all layer cake squares that I used last week. So these are what I had left from each one. Now I could do red pinwheels, so I could make each one different. I would have enough, something like that. I could then do navy, or I've got a lot of other navy here. I could do another navy fabric for the 4 patches. That's what the other unit is 4 patches. And you do, so that makes kind of a chain. So I could do like that navy rather than mix it up, because I don't think there's enough of this one to do it. And I don't think there may be 2 of these. I'd have to see. Look quick. Yeah, see, there are 2. So I would have enough. So I could do the navy. So I could repeat these colors. Then it starts to get slim because I still have more rows to work on. So instead I could go ahead and add in one of the other colors here. This is red, but it's a little lighter red than for this fabric line than these are. So I could switch to one of those reds. Like I could take these out and I could bring in for the pinwheel, like it would show up well up here on this fabric. I'm not sure that pattern on pattern is good for the pine cones. So for the pine cones, I could do the plaid. I could do red. I could bring this red in, and then what I could do is I could bring in this other shade of red, and then I could switch to the aqua, either the medium, or the fabric line I'm using has a lighter aqua too, which is, what am I using? What is the name of this fabric line? It just escaped me. Fancy. So it's Good News, Great Joy. Good News, Great Joy. So that's also linked down there. So I could use the lighter for see, that's nice. I kind of like that light on there. They are the same pattern, which, okay. So they are. That's what happens. But I could bring these reds for the pinwheels, and then have the sort of chain part in the very light. I also could go to the white. I could bring in that chain, could be something like this, which would also be pretty because I've got white for packages. And then what that leads me to do is not use the aqua. Is to not use the aqua at all. So I would sort of, at this point, if I decide I don't use aqua on this row, then I'm probably not going to use aqua at all. So that would be eliminating the aqua, and I could do red pinwheels and little chain out of the white, kind of like popcorn, right? If you want to be realistic about it. And then the aquas can wait for some other project. I could also just switch this. That's kind of busy. Switch that so you really don't lose the pinwheel. And that could be it. So I think I'm going to go with this. Bring in the other shade of red and the pine cone for the white. And then we still will have another 2 rows, another 2 weeks after this. This is only the second week. So all the pieces are cut for the block, for the row of evergreen. But I wanted to show you, I went ahead with the fruit cake and cut some of the other parts up so that I could have it while I'm sewing this, and I'll be able to show you how much I get of a block done, because remember there already was some pink done. But I realized when I went to pull the fabrics to cut that I actually don't want these oranges rather. I really don't want these oranges because they're going to blend in with my center and there won't be any contrast. And I really don't want to change the centers. How can I see? Can you see? Yeah, so that's just going to be a mess. That'd be a hot mess. So I had to switch out all of these, which is no problem. There's enough of them fabrics in the line. So I have 3 sets cut here, and we'll make one of these while I'm sewing on that. So let me go do that. So here it is, all sewn up. So you can see like the chain, like the white, I did them sort of like the popcorns and cranberry, and did the same pinwheel cut fabric. All the pinwheels are the same fabric. The little squares for the little 4 patches are the same fabric. And don't be like Pat. I didn't pay attention, and I used some of the squares from the lighter green when I should have been making them, and so I had to make them again. So you made squares with the lighter green when they should have been the darker green on the bottom, so I had to remake those. It always happens, right? So on my website today, you'll see this one and the first row together, because my design wall still has critters on it, so I can't put it up there. So you can go over my website and see that picture. Now, before we end, I want to wrap up and show you a book nook. So I had that for the other day. It is my friend Cheryl Brickey's book, so let's take a look. So let's take a quick look at Cheryl's new book. There's a front section that gives you a lot of details, like sort of overall of 2 charm packs and some tips and things. But I want to show you the quilts. So gift box is, oh, that's so nice. I love the gray background. Remember I showed you gray recently for a background? And then she also has all the quilts a second time in other fabrics. So there you go. Betty, I love that name. These are all done again with 2 charm packs. There's Betty in a second colorway, and Lover's Lane that's got a star in it. We've got Morning Flower Patch. I like that dark background again. So she's mixing it up here so it's not always the same. Somerville Circle. This has to be my favorite. I think I'm going to need to make this. Has a second colorway of it. It is just so clever. And there it is with the pink, like the kind of bubblegum pink. I have to show it to you up close there. See that? Oh, cool, cool, cool. We've got more fishes and growing vines. That's very neat. Very geometric. Starry rays, and I love that blue in there, the horizontal. Diagonal joy. Another kind of stone color background on there that is so effective. Process flow. Look, like a zipper. It looks like a zipper to me. I think that's really cool. All rectangles and squares and things for those of you who love that, and in a second colorway. All the quilts are in a second colorway, so once you have the book you'll be able to see that. Taylor Square. I like that. It gives a really interesting illusion. Here we've got Carnegie Plaid. This one. Here's Taylor Square in dark. Carnegie Plaid. And yeah, there it is, just a bigger picture. We've got Snapdragon Cove. And I believe I have that one to show you with a gray background. So those grays are really effective. So if you've never used them, here is a way to see how they look. String lights, that's fun. That is really fun. I would do that one too. Abby and Katie, those were her pets' names. I think that's sort of cute. And I think this is the last one, the diamond hashtag on this sort of 30s green. Can you see that was 30s fabric? Although that isn't what she used, but it could be really cute with 30s fabric as well. So once again, Cheryl's book, just 2 charm pack quilts. Just 2 charm packs. There you go. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to show you this. This is the fruitcake block that I made while I was sewing that row of evergreen. So now I've got 2 and I've got several more that are cut out. So I am going to go on a cutting spree with this one. So I've got it ready to sew whenever I need it. Well, I put them on the floor since I can't put them on the wall, but I will take a picture and it'll be on my website. So there we go. You're all ready to go with week 2 of Evergreen. So I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.